you shed any light on the final team? Any playing tomorrow night?
Not at this stage. There was, as Poggy alluded to yesterday, there was a couple of the captain run today, so no, at this stage, no changes.
Those guys that were under a bit of a cloud, did they do enough this morning?
Yeah, they did enough. Yeah, they, captains run, leaders runs. Generally, they go about their own business, so we had no issues there.
Daniel Talia seemed to be just walking laps. Is he okay?
Yeah, I mean Tales every now and then, and clearly off a 6-day break at Etihad, those guys old enough, and including his 150th game this week, he's played a lot of footy, so we let them sort of go about how they want to go about their preparation for the game.
Ben talked about it a bit. You've played there and coached there. Can you put into words the difference playing on Etihad and the week after that, and especially given you guys have had 2 there in the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, well, it's a long time since I played there, but the ground's in much better condition than what it was when I played there. But look, it's just it's a harder deck, because there's obviously the car park and all that stuff underneath. So, but yeah, I think as a general rule, guys are a little bit sore after playing there, and then particularly off a 6-day break. So, we'd tread lightly with them.
Have you addressed the issue of a potential tag for Sloaney, Rory Laird, any of those guys? Have you addressed that during the week? The potential for that from someone like Scott Pendlebury?
We do it every week. That's part of my role and what I do with the midfield group and discuss with Pikey. So we discuss that weekly, not just this week against Collingwood.
Does that expected running change any plans whatsoever?
No, I don't think so. I think our game plan, our game style stacks up in wet weather. If it is wet, we've had some of our best games in the wet. So if it rains, not a problem.
What about going the other way with your boys in the middle? Asked Pikey about yesterday, and he said refer to Campo. He's the midfield coach. Defensive, that meant they're probably best players are in the middle. Do you have to have more of a defensive mindset for a couple of your midfielders?
No, we'll play the way we play. Yeah, I think over a period of time that we've done that pretty well. So I guess through the midfield we try and play both phases. So we like to be a midfield that can attack and defend. So we're still working on that. I think most midfields are in the competition. Generally by nature they're quite attacking, so we've got to make sure we get the balance right.
So is it more of a reactive thing for you? If someone's getting up to change them at half time, then you say, maybe you need to play a bit more defensive?
Yeah, well, I know. Well, once again, we want the game played in both phases. So, there may be times when guys get off the chain, but we'll make a calculated decision, as we always do, whether that individual's hurting us or not.
Tricky sort of start to the year injury-wise. Got a bit of a relief almost going unchanged for once.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've had our share, but history says we've had a pretty good run, so it can change. But it's been a real positive for us because we've been able to expose some guys that haven't necessarily had big AFL minutes and consecutive games. So Cam Shulman, Lockie Murphy, these guys have been included into the team.
Was there a consideration at all, just to Fogarty or someone Hampton to come back in?
Not at this stage, no. I mean, Fogarty was obviously out last week. We've got to make sure he's a first-year player, so we understand his load. So at this stage, no reason to at the moment.
You played a long game with Fogarty. You spoke about him being a first-year player. Even if he's not in the best 22, do you, look at giving him a few weeks off here and there? He didn't play Sanford last week either as he was travelling. Do you kind of look to manage him so he can be in good nick come the end of the year?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we did the same thing with Miller. He had some time off, so I think that's just good management of your players to make sure that you understand that potentially these guys come in and don't do a lot pre-Christmas after getting drafted, and then we expect them to play at a really high level. So we've got to make sure that they're conditioned to play at the level that we require them to play at, but also making sure that they get enough recovery time. Yeah.
When you look at Collingwood, what do you see as their greatest area of strength?
Yeah, well, I think you touched on it before. I think they've got a quality midfield with a lot of talent, and potentially their best game, I guess, on the weekend that just gone. The way they moved the ball and the way they defended, they would have been pretty happy with that. So. It really is a field position game tomorrow night, no doubt.
What difference does Miller make? So just touching on, he had a quiet sort of summer, and then he showed glimpses last week where he cut through a couple of packs and he's got a lot of speed.
No, he does. He really excites us, one. He's one that when he gets the ball in his hands, even if it is only sort of 15 to 20 times, he's going to make you pay. So we obviously rate him really highly, but once again, he's another young guy that we want to make sure that he's there in the back end of the year as well, and we look after him.
Collingwood are yet to win a game at Adelaide Oval. How much do you take advantage of the advantage you have playing at the Oval?
Yeah, I'm a bit 50-50 in that argument. You know, the way teams prepare and the way they travel, and you know, the mentality of coaches and players these days has shifted. So yeah, I guess it's a challenge to come here. We've got 55,000 great fans that come and support us week in and week out. You know, that potentially has an effect on that, but I don't think they read into too much. I guess if they get their game plan going versus our game plan, they'll be in front on the scoreboard.
Well, Nathan Buckley talked about the noise when wing teams come in, not just to play Crows, but obviously forward as well. Do you guys sort of obviously think that's a bit of an advantage to have that?
Yeah, well, I think.
They're really disturbing the opposition teams.
Yeah, well, I think by nature, if you're at your home stadium with 50,000 people, the adrenaline runs a little bit higher and the hair on the back end that gets up, and that certainly is an advantage, no doubt. And that's, I guess, the challenge of interstate teams, and even when we go to Melbourne, to make sure we can try and silence that so they don't have that advantage.
Hugh Greenwood's been great the last 2 weeks, but obviously last year as well when he came into the team. How have you seen his transition across from basketball now to footy?
Yeah, well, clearly he's been a regular in our side for the majority of the back end of last year, and then came back in this year. So we just love his pressure and his contested ball and the way he goes about with his pressure around the contest. So if he keeps bringing that, he'll continually be in our side.
You've done a bit of work with Eddie during the summer as well. I mean, you saw him play a bit higher up the ground the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, look, he played a little bit in the midfield, and he's done really well with his aerobic capacity, and we sort of challenged him in that space to take his game to another level, as hard as that may sound, but we think he can add something to our midfield group as well, and gives him some flexibility as well. If he's not quite getting it done forward, we can have the ability to and trust that we can throw him in the midfield.
Is there one danger man in Collingwood have such a deep midfield? Is there a danger man you look at thinking we really need to put the clamps on here at all in that mix?
No, not really. I think collectively that's the way we look at teams, not individuals.